When I look at the first medical certificate, I see what I think are only 2 words. And when I look at the one that we insisted should be filed, that is a legible one, I see 4 words. And the second one, which is legible, starts with acute, first letter A. And the first one, that's illegible as it is, nothing looks like an A in the first word. If anything, it looks like an M. So 1, why do we have only 2 words in the first one? And 2, why do we have 4 in the second one? Does it mean different medical conditions were reflected, or does it mean that the same medical condition was reflected, but perhaps in the first medical certificate expressed in 2 words, and in the second medical certificate expressed in 4 words? Secondly, that's the first point I want to raise. Secondly, why is the name of the doctor not mentioned? In paragraph 5, this simply says, I was observed by, open quote, a medical practitioner, close quote, unnamed. And I looked at the signature. I'm not sure I looked at the second one. First one, at least, no, the name at least does show on the stamp. So I'll leave that one. I'll leave the second point.
Thank you, Chair.
Perhaps comment on the first point?
Yes, thank you, Chair. As you'd be very well aware, there's doctor-patient confidentiality and privilege. So the first medical certificate, it reflected medical condition without disclosing the nature of the condition.
Also, that's medical condition.
Yes, that's what it said. But then upon further deliberations with the evidence leader, he proposed that, look, let us disclose the medical condition, but it wouldn't be publicly mentioned during the proceeding. So that is why there's a discrepancy between yesterday's medical certificate and today's one.
I'm happy because I was not aware of the agreement on non-disclosure. I'm happy that all I disclosed was just acute and not the rest of it. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Nhlanhla. The hearing of the witnesses' testimony is postponed to 11 March 2026, and the statement of the witness must be filed by 3 March 2026. That's the order.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Is it practical for the next witness to come in with us sitting here, or do you want us to step out for a minute?
Chair, we haven't been in communication with the next witness yet. I don't imagine there will be difficulties, but it may be more convenient just for you to step out for 5 minutes.
We'll just step outside and you'll indicate when you are ready. Let's adjourn. Good morning, Ms. Magula.
Good morning, Mr. Commissioner.
Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Perfect.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Mr. Shaskalse.
Thank you, Chair. Today's witness is Ms. Nhlanhla, and I'm not. It may be. I'm not sure if the witness has been sworn in yet.
Not yet, no.
Okay.
All right.
We're certainly ready to begin at this
Thank you,
stage.
thank you. Good morning, Ms. Nhlanhla.
Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, Commissioners.
Will you swear or will you affirm?
I will affirm, Chairperson.
Do you affirm that the evidence you are going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I will
You affirm.
give evidence, truth, nothing else
Just
but the
say,
truth.
I affirm.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Please say, I affirm.
I affirm. Thank you,
you.
Chairperson.
Chair, before we begin, I should just place on record one fact, which is that in the supplementary bundle, I'll take Ms. Nhlanhla through all of the documents in due course, but the Commissioner should have two files of supplementary bundle 1 and 2. The bulk of the second volume of the supplementary, or the whole of the second volume of the supplementary bundle, in fact, all of the supplementary bundle from page 123 on, was only made available to Ms. Nhlanhla's attorneys late yesterday. That was the Commission's fault, and we apologize for that. As a result, it would not be fair for me to question the witness on any of these documents today. But I have spoken to her legal team, and we have agreed that I won't traverse any of those documents today, that I will only get to them tomorrow, and that they will prepare overnight on those documents, and that if there is, if they want, as it were, Ms. Nhlanhla to be led in relation to those documents first thing tomorrow morning, we will arrange to do that. There may be a supplementary statement overnight, but they haven't yet decided whether that will be necessary or not. So for now, I would ask the Commission also not to ask questions in relation to anything that appears from page 123 onwards of the supplementary bundle.
Thank you, Mr. Chaskalson. Ms. Magula.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Indeed, I do confirm what the evidence leader has said. We received documents early hours of this morning, to be precisely at 1:03 a.m. So we discussed before we got into this hearing. Everything is so arranged as he has said. I confirm such. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson.
Thank you, Ms. Magula. Yes, Mr. Chaskalson.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Nhlanhla, before we start, I just want to clarify that you have all of the documents that I'm going to be referring you to. And the first file, and the file that will be certainly the most important for the start, is, it says statement on its spine, and it's a file that contains your two witness statements. It says file 1 of 6.
Yes.
And that, I'll be leading you from that file this morning. Then there are 5 additional files, files 2 to 6 of 6, which are the annexes to your statements. I understand that one of those files, which is, I think, the regulations, which is a file of legislation, you don't have with you, or have you been able to source a copy? I don't propose to ask you questions around it, but if you get to a point where you need to consult any of the legislation in your answers, please say so, and we will make arrangements for a duplicate copy of that file to be made available to you. But from my side, I don't intend to ask questions to you about the legislation. Then there is the supplementary bundle file, 2 files, and the only questions that you'll be asked today, to the extent that you are asked any questions, will relate to the first file of that supplementary bundle file. And the way that we structure these questioning sessions is the first stage of the questioning is really to take you through your statement so that you can tell your statement without intrusive questioning. So you don't need to be on your guard until I say, okay, we've reached the end of your statement, now you're going to be subjected to intrusive questioning. So I will be taking you through your statement, and at the end of the statement, we will then get to certain topics where I just want to interrogate your statement more rigorously. There are two statements that you have filed, and the second one is called supplementary statement, but as I read it, it's more a consolidated version of the first statement, which also responds to certain allegations that were that only came to light in the evidence of Ms. Mkhwanazi after you had furnished the first statement. So unless you have any objection, I propose to lead you only off the supplementary sworn statement, because as I read it, it traverses everything in the first statement, so there's no need to duplicate. But I see your legal team is nodding in assent. So that is how I propose to proceed. And with that introduction, can we then turn to your supplementary sworn statement? And maybe start at the end, and can you just confirm that the signature that we see on page 43 is your signature, and that the contents of the statement are, to the best of your knowledge, true and correct?
I hereby confirm it is my signature. Thank you so much.
And can you confirm also that the contents of the statement are, to the best of your knowledge, true and correct?
Indeed, the content of the statement, to my knowledge, it is my statement. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Then if we go back to the beginning of the statement, you point out in paragraph 1 that you are employed at the Ekhurhuleni Metro as Head of Department Human Resources. Paragraph 5, you discuss your history and qualifications. Can you first of all tell the Commission when you were appointed, when you were first appointed at the city? How long have you worked at the city? If you can.
Okay, thank you so much, Chairperson, the Commissioners, and the evidence leader. Through you, Chairperson, I think before I speak to my qualifications, I would like to address some irregularities that I've seen on different statements, transcripts, in relation to my surname. Thank you. The last time you did raise it, but as I was going through the statements, I've realized that I've been addressed in different ways. I would like to correct that Mrs. Linda Louisa Kasheka. I'm not a Mr. I've called Kasheka, and I'm thinking these are legal documents that I've gone through. So I would like that to be corrected, that I am Mrs. Linda Louisa Kasheka. Thank you so much. To come to my career at Ekhurhuleni, that has led us to be here today. Indeed, I arrived at Ekhurhuleni in 2015, May, 1st of May 2015, coming from City of Joburg. I've joined local government in 2008. I worked for City of Joburg for those years. I did a lot of great work for City of Joburg. I'm hoping that at some point I'll be able to talk to that, about my career. When I left City of Joburg, they called me 3 times when I was at Ekhurhuleni. Linda, come back. The city is not functioning in HR without you. I'm not there. Maybe I will be able to address that, but I felt it's something that needs to be discussed in terms of my career trajectory in local government space. When I was appointed as divisional head for field services, the reason I think they chose me to be appointed in that position, because at City of Joburg as well is the position that I held. I had about 3 to 4 promotions when I was working for City of Joburg. To some extent, I think when the City of Joburg was going through the issues of the billing system, the ICT system, at some point in one council, I was appraised for making a change and contribution to the change at City of Joburg. Hence, when I left, I was called to go back, but I felt that I've done my journey and I have a role to play at the city of Ekhurhuleni. Hence, I stayed. I was in that position of a divisional head, field services, and my role was to implement the HR business partnering model. And that's what I implemented successfully in the city of Johannesburg. And I put systems in place. I developed the business partnering model, operating model for the city of Ekhurhuleni. I've developed service level agreements without using any service provider. I saved money. When I arrived in Joburg, they spent millions in developing that plan. When I came in, I went and implemented. I had so many highlights, but we're not here for City of Joburg, and I don't want them to be brought into issues of Ekhurhuleni. I implemented a lot of policies in that role at City of Joburg, including a sexual harassment policy that will be discussed today, and service level agreement. I've also implemented that. And those were the success. I came with the surveys to speak to issues of how our clients at the time, which was about 25 departments, were perceiving HR services. And from the findings of that survey, that's when we then developed all the other operational parameters and strategies for the city of Ekhurhuleni. Subsequent to that, there was a first institutional review we embarked upon at the city of Ekhurhuleni. And my position as a divisional head field services, it was then merged with a divisional head talent acquisition, recruitment and selection. Then I was responsible for those two functions. Without any additional salary. I don't think that was a main issue to me. The aim was to see that we can change Ekhurhuleni. It's a bit we're here today, Chairperson. Subsequent to that, I think in February 2023, on this day, it was on a Thursday, Council adopted my appointment as the HOD Human Resources. Such an irony, but a beautiful one, I hope, that today I'm here testifying for being in this role. And I've been in this role ever since then and to date. I think I've dwelt too much on this issue. You will tell me, evidence leader, if we're gonna go paragraph by paragraph or what is going to happen so that I don't spend too much on one paragraph. Thank you so much, Chairperson and the commissioners.
Thank you, Ms. Sheko. You refer in paragraph 5 to your CV in Annexure LLG1. That's on page 1 of the Annexure bundle, file 2. Can you just confirm that that is the correct document and that the CV is, and that the contents of the CV are correct? I don't need you to amplify them, but just confirm the correctness of the CV.
Yes, we can confirm it's just the years that might need to be corrected. As I say, I've been in local government more than 10 years. I think it's about 16 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then you discuss the work that you've done in the HR department in Ekhurhuleni through the paragraphs 6 to 13. Can I ask you just to amplify a couple of these paragraphs? You say you've implemented the human resources business partnering model. Just wasn't clear to me. Can you just explain what it is?
The human resource business partnering model is basically about enhancing the service that HR provides to the line departments, whereby you ensure operational efficiencies are improved, you understand the business itself so that you can be able to provide the correct and fit for purpose advisors to the departments, being a part of the line in all their decision making. And hence it was important to look at this. I said earlier on, one of the issues I embarked upon was the service, the customer satisfaction survey. That was also to be able to implement what is the client is expecting from HR. But most importantly is to ensure that HR is operating effectively and efficiently in providing services to the department. And the main thing I felt this must be spoken to here is it was very key to also make the Commission understand that City of Joburg, in terms of capacity, I'm not a person who comes with excuses of capacity. You do more with less. But at City of Joburg, when I implemented the model, I ensured that every department has an HR structure so that they can be able to understand the issues of the department and be able to advise correctly the department on its issues. And secondly, Ekhurhuleni is still at an implementation phase due to lack of capacity, but as I said, that the approach was do more with less. Most critical is to explain that my understanding of the SAPS and how it works, you will probably have an HR practitioner in every station, in every province, and the national departments. Ekhurhuleni, as I explained that, the model is still under implementation. I'm the only HOD responsible for, at that time, of these matters that we have for discussion, for 25 departments with the political offices that has its own challenges. And I had about 5 HR business partners that must man and provide support to all these departments. Hence, majority of the work and the decisions that to be made had to be made at a center. So we have not defined that in the HR business partnering model, there's centers of excellence where policing and everything is done. There's shared services where day-to-day work is done. Then there's HR business partners. That has not been fully realized. But the most important is the model of SAPS and Ekhurhuleni is very different. And I'm going to talk to that as we go down the statement. Thank you, evidence leader. And on the other issues, you said I must go up to page 3. I've also spoken to the functions, I think from page 210, the implementation of the recruitment. It's one of my highlights I had at Ekhurhuleni. When I arrived there, recruitment services to fill positions, it will take more than 365 days. I just couldn't understand that. We've got service delivery issues. Customers, residents of Ekhurhuleni are not happy, but we cannot have positions filled. Hence, I came with the service level agreements that were signed between myself, my team, and the line departments. And by the time I became an HOD, recruitment processes to date are between 90 days. That's our turnaround time. And now, before I was shown the gate, we were having a target that at least let's get to 60 days. We can do that. I worked for private sector. It can take a month to fill a position with a fit for purpose talent. And I feel that I'm aspiring that we should get to that. On the labor relations matters on page 3, I think that's the reason we're here today. I must emphasize that when we started with the issues that are bringing us today that I'll speak to, I get to encounter and be able to form part of the relations management deeply when I was acting HOD Human Resources, because before I was appointed, I acted when my predecessor left. And obviously it means I had one division.
Sorry to interrupt, but can you just give us a date for that? When did you start acting?
I've acted, in fact, we were acting, I think it was 2-3 of us interchangeably. I think it was from August 2022. And as I said earlier on, my appointment was, council adopted the appointment of HOD HR Linda Kasheka in February 2023. So the acting would have been August to February. And I was encountered with challenges from the time I was acting in the labor relations space. One of the matters, there's about 4 I'll mention, I won't mention a lot, there's a lot. It was the Germiston Pension Fund. Commissioners, you might know about this. We had lockdown issues, Commissioner Khumalo. And at that time, Ekhurhuleni was expected to pay more than 100 million for the pension not performing. And the changes to that pension fund were done prior to 1994, and it was locked. They performed, I think it performed and performed, then around 2020, I think could have been during COVID time, they said, Ekhurhuleni, surprise for you, come and assist. But it came to my attention when I was acting. Another matter that also came to be a challenge in the labor relations space, it was the implementation of the remuneration model. I had no interest to start mentioning this name now, but I'm forced to. Mr. Nhlanhla ran with the remuneration model. The intention at the time was the remuneration model, it will cost the city around 100 million. By the time the process was concluded, it costed the city more than 400 and something million, almost $500 million. The current city manager, Mr. Kagiso Lerutla, reported this to Dr. Mashas. The challenges of this, it meant that the city now must embark on a moratorium. It means we reduce in filling of positions. We know, Chairperson and Commissioners, what that translates into. Limited capacity. We don't fill positions. Ultimately, what does that mean? Service delivery is impacted. And we expect that citizens of Ekhurhuleni must be happy. These are some of the challenges I had to deal with. I was also encountered the Kalimashe and others matter, Gwejan and others matter. That one of those matters costed the city 500 million, $500 million. I had to sit and negotiate with the unions. Another one, by the time it came to the city, to the legal department, it was left with 6 days. It was a judgment, not even a contempt of court, a judgment against the city manager. I'm not going to mention names. It could have been the current city manager, it could have been the previous one. 6 days that are left. I'm the HOD HR. What is council going to say to me when she's arrested? What is her family going to say to me when she's arrested? These are some of the challenges that we've been encountered with from HR, and that's when I started partnering with legal department. We know some of the matters that they had to deal with, the PCX matters and all of that, but I'm focusing on the LR issues that they had to assist me with. I'm new in this position. I've got judgments. I've got contempt of courts. That on matters that Mr. Nhlanhla and the ER division could have negotiated years ago and settled. The fights you fight, once you get to Labour, LAC, at least, you should know that you're winning or not. On the matter of a 500,000, it was 1,000 employees that were impacted that were going to benefit on that. Some of them, they are union leaders, I won't mention the unions, come to me and said, HOD, I've already made a calculation. If you settle this for us and pay us this 500 million, I retire. I asked them, what does it mean for the citizens of Ekhurhuleni? What does it mean for employees? Because it means we might probably have to retrench something that was never done in local government. It might mean we don't fill positions once more. What does it mean for your own children, for the generations that to come? These are matters I had to settle to an extent that we reduced from that 500 million and to a lesser amount. I think we signed with the current city manager only last year, but it was ongoing challenges that one had to take up the seat and own ER space. If I did not, Ekhurhuleni might have closed by now. I think I'll move on that. Issues of performance management, I won't focus on that. I think training and development, evidence leader, will discuss that tomorrow. Another most important thing that I need to discuss with commissioners in terms of my achievement is the advocacy programs. I think Dr. Mkhwanazi didn't do justice here. While she came with her own programs, I developed programs when I came to Ekhurhuleni. I resuscitated the men's forum because there was conversations that men must have Ekhurhuleni. Probably won't even be here, or I wouldn't be implicated in other matters if those conversations took long before I arrived there. I've resuscitated that forum. I've developed the disability management forum. I've also developed a women empowerment forum because I felt that we need an inclusive and a diverse workforce. And those are some of the issues that I felt must be shared. I don't want to be controversial, but there is one structure that was not yet done, and maybe I shouldn't talk to it just because I don't want to be misquoted. For now, I'll stop the evidence leader. Thank you, Chairperson.
In paragraph 15, you point out that this statement is really furnished in response to a Rule 3 notice that was dated 26 November and sent to you by the Commission. That Rule 3 notice is at page 40 of the annexure bundle. And I think it may make sense as we go through the statement, as you lead into each topic, to highlight the question that was being asked of you by the Commission. So if we can, sorry, I think it's also important to emphasize that why this supplementary consolidated statement is furnished is that when you got the Rule 3 notice, it was before the testimony of Dr. Mkhwanazi. You were subsequently given a supplemented bundle that had Dr. Mkhwanazi's testimony, and you then wanted to amplify your original answers having regard to what was said about the relevant topics by Dr. Mkhwanazi. Can we start at paragraph 3.1 of the notice? And that's at page 41 of the annexure bundle.
Which bundle, Mr. Justice?
It's file 2.
2 of 2.
No, 2 of 6. And it may be convenient if we just keep open or accessible pages 41 to 43 of that file, because we'll be coming back to them as we go through Mrs. Iseka's statement. But in paragraph 3.1, the notice says that the testimony of these 3 witnesses, and at that stage it was Mr. Nhlanhla, Ms. Tepa, and, no, it was 5 witnesses. It was Mr. Mapiyei, Mr. Spies, Mr. Nhlanhla, Ms. Tepa, and witness D, implicated you in alleging that you unlawfully supported and participated in the usurpation of the powers of the Chief of Police as contained in Section 64C of the SAPS Act. And then it's particularized under 3.1.1 onwards. But you respond to 3.1 generally from paragraph 18. And can you just briefly deal with your general response to paragraph 3.1.1, 3.1, from paragraphs 18 and 19 of your statement? The allegation of usurping powers of the Chief of Police.
Thank you, Chair. Firstly, I would like to, as stated in my statement, I refute the allegations that I have supported and participated in the usurpation of the powers of the Chief Executive Officer, and I think the Executive Head as well, in terms of the Section 64C of SAPS Act. And the reason is that, Chair, maybe I must explain that. Firstly, a premise in my submission is of the fact that the city manager, municipal manager, the CEO, is the ultimate authority on all matters relating to municipality, and specifically, in this instance, the municipal police service, as per Section 64B. I think for us to focus on Section 64C, it won't be proper. It must be read in its entirety, but with also Section 64B, because the ultimate powers, they start there. I've extracted the Section 64B, where it says the Chief Executive Office of the municipality shall be responsible to the municipal council for the functioning of the municipal police services. And in terms of the allegations, I don't know, evidence leader, through you, Chair, I must get to the allegation itself now. I can continue, proceed.
I think I would rather you said more about the specific allegations under 3.1 and so on. Really, we have your statement in relation to the general allegation on 18 and 19. Unless there's something you want to emphasize or amplify, I'm happy to proceed to the allegation in 3.1.1, which relates to the appointment.
All right.
So if we go back to file 2 of 6 and paragraph 3.1.1 on page 41, the allegation is that you supported the promotion of Ms. Stella Jokazi by Brigadier Mkhwanazi despite the protestations of Chief Mapiyei, in whom these powers vested.
Okay, thank you,
And
Chair.
if you can respond to that, and maybe with reference to what you say in paragraph 20 onwards.
All right.
Or even 19.2 is, I suppose, where you start there.
Okay.
Okay, can I just ask that we correct the typo in 18? I think it's the usurpation of the power by the CEO. It's not of the CEO. Because the powers you are said to have usurped are those of the Chief of Police.
Indeed, the notice refers to the usurpation of the powers of the Chief of Police. So it would either be by the CEO or of the Chief of Police.
Do you follow that, Mrs. Tlasheka?
Let me assist you. If you look at 3.1 on page 41, you see that the allegation is that you unlawfully supported and participated in the usurpation of powers of the Chief of Police. But in your statement at 18, it says powers of the Chief Executive Officer.
I had a reason for that.
Okay.
I had a reason for that. In fact, my style of writing, I know you're probably gonna have to be hard on me on that, is I always refer to the laws, to the policies. Hence, I had to start it from section 64B. But I went further on paragraph 19 and said...
Sorry, Mrs. Tlhasheka, but is there an allegation that you usurped the power of the chief executive officer? Is there such an allegation?
There is...
In 3.1?
Yes. The reason I've added that is that the city of Ekhurhuleni is managed by that section 64, but it's also regulated by the Municipal Systems Act, the systems of delegations and so forth. Hence, I'm saying, Chair, if you can indulge, you'll be able to understand why it's critical or the relevance of section 64B. At some point, you're going to see that.
I don't think I'm taking issue with that. If you look at 3.1, reference is to usurpation of the powers of the chief of police. That is what the allegation referred to in 3.1 is, usurpation of the powers of the chief of police. And in 18, you refute the allegation that you supported and participated in the usurpation of the power of the chief executive officer. As if somebody has suggested that that is what you allegedly usurped. Do you see what I mean?
Thank you for that correction. Thank you, Commissioners. I understand.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Let me start responding then in terms of 19, paragraph 19, 1.1. As I said that I unequivocally dispute this allegation in that in provision 64C, it must be read in conjunction with other applicable legislation, laws and COE policies, which dictate and provide guidance on the framework and processing of the recruitment, appointment, promotion, and transfer of members of the municipal system, police services. I further want to submit that on the 10th day of April 2024, I received from Chief Isaac Mapieye a proposed selection panel that had his name as the chairperson. It had my name as the HOD-HR. It further had the name of, at the time, I think if I can recall, he was already the Deputy Chief of Police, Mr. Julius Mkhwanazi.
Sorry to interrupt, but it might help if we go to page 47 of file 2, because I think that's the document you're referring to, and then the commissioners can see it.
Page?
47.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, I can take the commission to that page. This is solicited services of HR, myself specifically, by the Chief of Police. His memo is dated 10 April 2024, directed to Linda Kasheka, HOD Human Resources, from IJ Mapieye, Municipal Police Commissioner, Chief of Police, EMPD. The heading or the subject, EMPD panel members for the director and deputy director post. The above matter refers proposed panel members for director and deputy director, operations and specialized services. And then there's two tables there. The first table with the heading director post. A chairperson, IJ Mapieye, Chief of Police, panel member, El Kashega, HOD Human Resources, panel member J. Mkhwanazi, Deputy Chief of Police. He invited me into his process. And as I said, there's nothing wrong in terms of our current model at the city of Ekhurhuleni.
Can I just ask here, the system of interview panels for appointments one that is consistently applied through the EMM and the EMPD?
Through you, Chair, can you please repeat the question?
Is a system of interview panels for appointments one that is consistently applied across the municipality and the municipal police department?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, indeed. It's done in two ways. For levels below a divisional head, where departments are proactive, they will then write to me and provide the panel. Some instances, they will copy even the city manager. And then for the divisional heads, that particular level, I think executive managers, senior executive managers, because they are fixed-term contracted employees, that I will, most of the time, 99% of the time, I take initiative and request for instance, from filling of positions, because it's a 5-year contract, so they tend to expire. So I'll initiate that and write to the city manager. The departments, they would normally call me the line HODs and say, this position you sent to us, you notified us it's about to expire, please assist with the process. So below that level, they will write to us and request with the panel. In some instances, I'm not included. In some, I'm included. Preferably, I shouldn't be included, but sometimes they do want me there. Thank you. Apologies for taking long there.
And can I just clarify how the panel system works? Does the panel actually take a decision, or does it make a recommendation to the decision maker?
In terms of our policies and systems of delegations, panels do make a recommendation, but a very peculiar area, and obviously policies are there for continuous improvement approach. And I think ever since I started developing policies for Ekhurhuleni, you will see most of the policies, I say every 5 years, revise them. But as and when we get amendments on the acts, we can always do that. So you will find a governance risk of some sort, where in some instances, the same panel, like I was saying, I was invited here, must also appoint, approve. You make a recommendation as a panel, like in this peculiar one, but you recommend and also approve. And that is based on the what you call this, the systems of delegations.
So in the case of these appointments that we're looking at, who would have the power of appointment under the system of delegation?
It will be the chief of police in conjunction with myself. Our systems of delegations are very clear about my powers as the HOD, HR, or maybe, yeah, and the line departments. It does talk about shared powers, shared resources, even from you commencing with the process without articulating verbatim. It says that in conjunction with HOD, HR, do recruitment, appointments, transfers, and everything else in conjunction. And as I say, then it goes with levels, that there's certain levels that HODs are expected to approve, and then there's levels that the city manager must approve, and there's levels that divisional heads, in the instance of EMPD, it will be Deputy Chief of Police must approve. It is in the systems of delegations. So you do cascade down the powers through sub-delegations. Thank you.
Sorry, I interrupted you. If you...
Or just before Mrs. Tlasheka moves on, I think I got a bit confused right at the beginning of dealing with the recommendation and approval. You said the panel recommends and the panel approves. Did you say that? So if this panel recommends and this panel approves, who does this panel recommend to if it's the same panel that's going to approve? I find that confusing. I just need clarity. I'm not, yeah.
Chair, that's why I said that that is one area of governance risk.
One area of governance, what?
Risk.
Governance risk.
Yes. In that you do find peculiar in certain levels where, in terms of systems of delegations, for instance, that for a director, a DCOP must approve. Now
Okay,
you have that DCOP.
Let me ask the question again. Do you mean the interviewing panel recommends to itself? Is that what you mean? Why does it recommend and not simply appoint then?
The good part on that, as much as it's a risk that is identified, but the good part is the panel, as much as it sits and recommends, it does not do the due diligence. It does not write the report. In this instance, for instance, after the interviews were done, the report was then written by the secretariat, the recruiting secretariat. It will write the report. It will tell you if there's anomalies. You know, maybe let me jump a gun and get you where we should be going here. In this instance, for instance, Chair, when there was a challenge on the qualification of Ms. Stella Chokas. Oh, shame. It's a pity that we have their names here. The main thing that was a challenge in terms of my statement, the chief says, after we shortlisted, I think we shortlisted about a very strange thing, it doesn't normally happen. We shortlisted about 7 to 8 incumbents, candidates. And then the chief then calls me and said, look, we need to have a discussion on this. And I made it very clear that we don't do that outside the panel. Let's go and discuss on the panel. But to cut this story short, his main concern was that he was targeting Ivan du Plessis for the position. After I stopped him having a telephone conversation on the day of the interviews, he arrives in my office early. The chief doesn't make an appointment. Chief gets to your office, even hardly sends emails. He writes all these memos. He does the writing, but will send them to your office. He arrives there. He's highly respected. When he enters, people stand up. And to me, even if you are a general employee, you are a high person, I've got an open door policy. So it usually comes in, HOD, I'm targeting Ivan du Plessis. And I said, Chief, you know, we can't deal with things that way. Why? He meets all the requirements. And I said, all these people who shortlisted, we can't shortlist you if you don't meet the requirements. And it's a collective decision. 3 of us must account if there's a panel member that is, a candidate that is shortlisted, we shouldn't. And number 2, I explain that, Chief, you allow the process to run its course, let alone that we've got employment equity plan.
Mrs. Tashe, I think you answered my question, which was, does the panel
Thank you.
recommend to itself? And you basically said yes. Thank you, Mrs. Tashe.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Mr. Shaskolson.
Maybe to jump ahead, if we can go to page 72, which I understand to be the recommendation coming out of the panel. Is that correct?
Oops.
Do you have page 72?
Yes.
Maybe if you can just explain this document to the Commission.
Thank you. It's an interview summary and recommendation template.
And this is in response to, this was the template filled out following the interview for this post that we're talking about. And if we go to the bottom, just correct me if I'm wrong, I'm explaining how I see this, this document. You see the scores that the 3 panelists gave to the 6 shortlisted candidates. The first column, the first panelist was the chief, the second panelist was yourself, the third panelist was Chief Mkhwanazi. Then higher up, name and surname is everyone who was present, the 3 panelists, an HR person, I think, I can't read it, is it Kelly Mkhlangu?
Willie Mahlangu.
Willie Mkhlangu, okay. Underneath there were some union representatives as observers. And as I read this document, there is a scoring by the panelists, and the highest scorer is Ms. Jokazi, the second highest scorer is Mr. Duplessis. Is that a fair summary of it?
That's correct.
And presumably this form reflects what actually happened in the interview.
That's correct.
Can we then, I mean, I don't propose to deal further with paragraph 3.1.1, unless there's anything that you want to say. I'd like to move to paragraph 29 of your statement, which responds to paragraph 3.1.2. And there, if we go back to page 41 of that file too, the allegation in 3.1.2 is that you supported the exercise of powers by the erstwhile city manager, Dr. Mashazi, notwithstanding that powers were, the relevant powers were being vested in the chief of police. And you respond to that from paragraph 29. Can I ask you to explain your response to the Commission?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Again, my intention here is to submit in front of the Commission that whereas Isaac Mapieye, the Chief of Police, refers to SAPS Act, Section 64C, as the ultimate law that governs EMPD, the city is regulated by other laws. I could have articulated this previously. We have the Municipal Systems Act, specifically I think Section 55, but I'm not going to dwell on that. Municipal Structures Act, Municipal Finance Management Act, Municipal Staff Regulation, as amended in September 2021, Labor Relations Act that we must prescribe to or subscribe to, the Disciplinary Procedure Collective Agreement, amongst other few legal prescript that can be mentioned that governs the city of Ekhurhuleni. I further submit that the city manager is the ultimate authority in all matters and functionaries relating to operations of the municipality, specifically in this instance, municipal police services, as per Section 64B of the SAPS Act that has been amended, which reads as follows, that the municipal manager of a municipality shall be responsible to the municipal council for the functioning of the municipal police services, taking into consideration national policy priorities and efforts. This change aligns municipal policy oversight, Chair, in line with local government administrative structures. Section 64B is part of the Chapter 12 of the SAP Act. I'm not going to dwell on that. And, but basically what is important is that it's operating under broader legislative framework. It cannot be read in its own. I can make an example that we have Department of Energy. It's managed by its own acts. They have stakeholders like NERSA and so forth. You've got waste environment that are managed by NEMA. You've got finance that is managed by DORA and so forth, you know. But what is most important here, where this SAPS Act aligns with Ekhurhuleni, Section 64B, you know, it says that even Section 54C 2B, that when you apply that section, it's subject to other legislations. I think that's what I wanted to emphasize here.
Mr. Chaskalson, just a moment. I'm a bit worried, and I'm hoping maybe we can do this during tea. Mrs. Kasheka, in responding to 3.1, 3.1.1, 3.1.2, and 3.1.3, as you correctly said, there were letters that Mr. Mapieye actually addressed to you, where he set out what the issue is with Julius Mkhwanazi promoting people in circumstances where he doesn't have the power to do so. And also in Dr. Mashazi usurping his powers under Section 64C. And so I don't want you to just gloss over those and go through them. And then when we probe you, we say, but you didn't respond specifically to this. So maybe during tea, in Mapiaye's file, page 49, 51, and 52, it's those three letters where the specific allegations are set out. Because I thought when we deal with 3.1.1, I heard you just mention the statute and what it says, but you don't seem to dispute that Julius Mkhwanazi did in fact promote people and whether or not he has that power. So I think to be fair to you, maybe just when you complete the response to those sub-paragraphs, you have regard to these three letters.
Thank you, Commissioner. That makes a lot of sense, so that we deal with matters sequentially. I will try to do the same in relation to other issues where where there are possibly relevant documents which your response doesn't address directly. It's an awkward situation because I don't want to. I will probe you in due course later in relation to the documents, but I think it is fair that you get an opportunity to deal with them up front.
Can I respond on that, Chair? Because I think we might be missing each other. What I've explained earlier on is that, and you made me go and read a document on the recommendation. What I'm trying to explain here is that there is a panel that was set, and the panel has its own duties. That chief himself, he has invited that panel to come and sit on the interviews. And the chairperson asked me about the issues of recommendation versus appointments. And I responded on that three of us, we sat in this particular process. You confirmed evidence leader, the scoring and so forth. So decisions were made by the panel that Chief Mapieye solicited. You know, and the panel has decisions to make, and the panel made the decisions through a recommendation that you have spoken to. But I thought we'll be engaging on this matter where I can then say, where did it end? So I thought, evidence leader, you'd be leading me on that because there is an end, an appointment has been made. Thank you.
I think we're possibly at cross purposes because I think what the commissioner is not specifically asking about the Jokazi appointment. The Commission is asking about the general allegation of usurpation of the powers of Chief of Police, with reference to some specific letters which refer to those powers being usurped by Julius Mkhwanazi, and complaints from Mr. Mapiyeye to you about that. And I think in fairness, we need to show you those letters in the tea break. And then if you want to respond to them in this context before we get to intrusive questioning, you should have that opportunity. On the Jokazi appointment, the appointment has been made, and I understand that the two candidates who Chief Mapiyeye was supporting have lodged bargaining council proceedings, and those proceedings are still pending. Is that a correct?
That's correct. Thank you.
At this point, Mr. Shaskarsen, let's take the adjournment and come back at 11:15. Let's adjourn.
Thank you, Chair.